Hello everyone and welcome to the Helsinki Train Factory. Thank you for joining. It's November, Helsinki, like last year, we're going between storms and rain. But here in Train Factory we have a warm and cool setting, launching the new Axopar XXII and the Jobe X Revolve. If you haven't seen the launch video already on our websites, do so immediately. We will continue with information based on that web launch. So today we will be going both on water and on land. We will be showcasing a lot of features and functions on the boat, how the boat handles, and also give you a more in-depth review on fuel economy, engine size, propeller choice, and also all the features we have on all boats here at the Train Factory and also on the boats in the water. So, today I stand in front of you with the Axopar XXII Spyder. Looking at the 22, this is a completely different product that you've been used to see coming out from Axopar. Firstly and foremostly, I would say the striking design and the nice silhouette of the hull is something that really emphasizes everything there is about the Axopar XXII. There are a lot of features and benefits in the shape and how we made the hull possible. Just as a curious information, we are using a 3-part split mold on manufacturing the 22's hull. This is way more costly for us to manufacture and it's way more costly to produce as a mold. This creates a lot of customer benefits, so we didn't want to opt this out. And we're putting the extra mile and effort into making this into production. Firstly, we get the good looks of it by this split mold. Secondly, we're also getting the maximum width on the chine, which means that this will be one of the most stable 22-footer out on the market today. Thirdly, what it also is doing, because we've been able to play with shapes on the hull, it also creates the hull sides way stronger than on any conventional or any Axopar built today. Also what we've done is that this boat is now certified by the Norske Veritas. So as a 22-footer in category C, we could have chosen to only categorize the boat by ourselves. But we have actually chosen to use an exterior company, the Norske Veritas, to certify the boat for us. There are many competitors out there that certify their boats by themselves. That's more or less writing a paper that this boat fulfills all the certification requirements and it's our name under it. But doing this by an external company, they really scrutinize us that everything that is put on paper is 100% true and up to standards. Going to features on the hull, the first thing you will notice is the 22 has a bigger flare than any of its predecessors and even bigger than on the 37. It's going to help you recover the boat if you in any extreme situation would stuff the bow into a wave. But as this boat is low weight and with a great center of balance and center of gravity, the boat will handle as all Axopars have done in the past. But we just wanted to add this small added safety feature because we're talking about a smaller boat. Going forward on the boat, we still have the same cutting hull that is renowned for any Axopar model. We also kept the second chine that we have already synonymous on all our Axopar models. But on the 22, because we have the full beam in the back and full width chines in the back, we actually didn't need to make this as significant as we have done on the 28 and on the 37. It still helps you with a bit of the stability, but now it's more of a carryover from our previous models. Another small thing we did for you is that we created this line. This line is here for a purpose. It's for you to create the anti-fouling without need for any measuring tape. Moving forward, we were talking about the stability of the hull because we're doing the shapes. So all the shapes we're doing in the hull, and they become more and more significant the more we go to the back, also adds stiffness to the boat. So wherever you go on the boat, you will be seeing that these shapes actually creates a stronger hull, but at the same time being lightweight. We also wanted to emphasize that we are doing this by a 3-part split mold by making embossed Axopar letters. Many of you have already been asking, why aren't we putting any black tape or markers on it? You can actually get the Axopar letters you already know on the Axopar models as an option. The shape of this will fit the letters perfectly. Going all the way back, the synonymous Axopar stepped hull is still fully present on the 22, and it has been even further improved from the 37. So this hull is one of the most fuel efficient 22 footers out on the market. If you're going to have people that are going to drive the boat with different loads, I would still recommend keeping the trim tabs. Not because the boat itself would need it, but just for you to be able to stabilize if you have uneven load on the boat. You will now see the difference we made with the 3-part split mold. Firstly, you will see the nice shapes, adds a nice feature, creates a more younger feel to the boat, and doing this, we also want to attract new and more younger boaters. But the true product benefit from the 3-part split mold is that the aft transom chine is the widest part of the boat. This has a huge benefit on stability of the boat. This will be one of the most stable 22 footers with a deep V hull on the market. Also, one thing with the Axopar 22 is that we especially made it to be shipped inside a container. So straight from the factory door to you, we will be able to deliver a 22 with the engines installed right at your doorstep. Also, another quite interesting feature we did on the 22 is the ridge where we actually connect the hull to the deck. This you have never seen on an Axopar before. This is something completely new, and this also makes the boat look visually very appealing without the need for a fender list or any connection rail in between. The Axopar 22 Spyder is fully trailerable, and that was a very important part for us when we started the development of the project. So for the easiest recovery and launch of the boat, we still recommend you to choose a trailer that has gyro wheels on it. More or less, in simple facts, it's a trailer with as many wheels that will support the hull and will not get caught in the steps of the hull. So when selecting the trailer, please keep this in mind. What we're using at the moment is a trailer that is up to 2,200 kilograms. The boat itself, in our measures, has been around 1,650 kilograms, and then you add some fuel on it. As this is a 22-footer, we opted not to offer any electric windlass on the boat, but to use a manual anchor instead. The boat will come standard with 4 cleats. Also, it will have an anti-skid on the front part and on the anchor lockers and all work areas all around the boat. The anchor locker in the front is also done by RTM, so it's double-sided and molded. And you're also having 2 rope holders, one on the left, one on the right. This boat also has the foredeck seating. With the foredeck seating, you're getting 2 cup holders on each side and also a backrest. So the location of the front table is a bit of a compromise so that you can still have access to the cargo and the toilet. So getting in here can be a bit of a tight squeeze. More or less coming in here, you could actually just turn the table and sit down. On all 22s, there's also an additional storage on deck level. You can even open them with the table, but then the opening is more limited. This boat now has the optional toilet. But as you can see, following the 28, it's still quite spacious. So it's fully usable, and you still have the full width and the full beam of the center console to use. One distinct feature on the 22 is also on the bottom part of the center console. We have 2 big black fins, and they are there for a reason. These are made to deflect further the wind draft a bit backwards so that the wind isn't coming and starting a twirl directly at your feet. We took special care in finding out the ergonomics on the 22 so that anyone at any height can still drive the boat in any seated or standing position. So, good throttle control, good neutral position, the steering wheel a bit placed outside of the center of the line so that you have a neutral grab for the steering and for the throttle. On popular demand, the cup holders on the 22 are now US sized and drained. Also, what we did is that we took also special care to clean the console out of anything that has nothing to do with the boat and driving itself. So if you want a boat that is fully utilized for full sunbathing, this is the option we could strongly recommend you to select. This boat is now fully equipped when it comes to the aft section of the boat. This boat now has the cushions for the aft bench. It has the extension package of the U-sofa on both sides, and it has the full cushions. Additional to that, it also has the sunbed infill, which the table is just with a shorter leg as a support for the sunbed. The chairs also, of course, rotate so that this will become a really comfortable setting. There is one table available as an option, but there will be two places you can place the table. One here in the front, one in the back. All the cushions on the aft deck are optional. So if you take the U-sofa configuration, you will be having this added module with an anti-skid on top. And if you take the cushions, you will have the fasteners. But what this also creates is a small storage space underneath. We also added a step so that it's easier to get in and out of the boat from the side. And as excited we are about the Axopar 22 Spyder, we're even more excited about the Axopar X Jobe. Here you will see the top of the line Axopar X Jobe Revolve XXII, so stands for 22. This is now with a turquoise gel coat color, so every GRP part and every molding inside the boat is fully hand painted with a turquoise gel coat. It also additionally has a full graphics kit on the hull side with the lettering Revolve. And as you see on the stand-up paddleboard, the 2021 model from Jobe, it fully matches the boat in every single detail. And this stand-up paddleboard was the inspiration for us to make the whole Jobe boat in the first place. As striking the Axopar 22 Spyder already is, it's further emphasized on the Axopar X Jobe. And here, on all X Jobe models, we have a 3D lettering in neon. So that's where you get the 3D lettering as standard on an Axopar 22. We will later show you the standard Axopar X Jobe. We have that one in the water, and we are eagerly awaiting the opportunity to show it to you. But going back to the top of the line model, let's go inside and have a closer look what it has. So all Axopar X Jobe Revolve models has an EVA decking that is straight taken from Jobe. It's the exact same EVA you're having on their high quality stand-up paddleboards. It's soft, it's warm to the touch, and it dries really rapidly. The water ski frame is standard on all Axopar X Jobe models. Coming back to the interesting part, power. The Axopar 22 will be easily propelled with a 115 horsepower Mercury engine. With that boat, we are getting something around 30, 31 to even 32 knots of speed, depending on what options you have on board. It's a silent running engine and it's still very fuel efficient. So we're talking about 1.0 liters per nautical mile as an average fuel consumption. My own personal preference and my own selection would be the 150 EFI. With that engine, we're able to propel the boat up to around 38 knots of speed. Due to the high displacement on the engine, it runs very smoothly and silently. And it even is doing a slightly bit of better fuel economy than the 115. As it has a mechanical gear lever and mechanical steering, it's also in price point or price ratio one of the best packages we can offer. If you want to go full out, then you select the V6 engine from the 4-stroke series of Mercury. What we are delivering from the factory is the 200 horsepower version. I would strongly recommend you to also add hydraulic power steering into that package. The 200 horsepower engine adds a bit of torque. So it's going to be light to turn to one side and it's going to be a bit harder to turn to another side. So power steering is something I strongly recommend on the 200. Which is interestingly is that the 200 horsepower actually also shows the best fuel economy figures. We're able to drive the boat to approximately 0.9 liters per nautical mile, and we can do it in a very wide speed range. So we can select more or less any speed from 12 knots to 30 knots, where we have a really good fuel economy on board. With the 220-liter fuel tank, which is also quite unprecedented for a small 22-foot boat, we can have a cruising range up to 250 nautical miles in best instances. This will also help you if you have no fuel stations or gas stations nearby, and you will fill the boat up at a fuel station for cars. Standard on all Axopar 22s and the X Jobes is the tie-down points for trailering, 2 in the transom and 1 in the front. Also what we're having backsplash valves or coverings if you were ever to reverse heavily in following seas. Which you also can get with the 22 and the Axopar X Jobe is the Mercury extension package, which includes the theft deterrent system, which includes the vessel view mobile and the active trim. So if you're a new beginner or you have a customer that is new to boating, the active trim will even alleviate the pain of knowing how to trim an engine perfectly. The system takes care of it for your customer. This boat now also features the multi-storage option. You have a middle backrest that you can adjust in 2 positions. Living in this position, you will have seating for 2 persons, facing forward, still being protected by the plexi in front. And if you want, you can actually rotate it. So now I can sit 6 persons very easily, facing side forward. So there's a third option for the backrest. I can also remove the backrest and move it so that it becomes a headrest for the sunbed. We also added full-size beverage cup holders on the multifunction storage backrest. So not only is the multifunction storage about seating on this 22-footer, it's all about storage. So opening it up, you can have a myriad of water toys or gear just left on the boat. While you're leaving the boat, you just close the hatch and you have it ready when you come back. So the main switches and the main fuses are always located close to the transom on the 22. On the multifunction storage, you just lift the lid and you have everything accessible in here. All the fuses and everything you have is now put easily accessible and easily serviceable just straight behind this service panel. The optional aft deck shower is located as aft as possible on the boat so that you can still fully shower while at the bathing platform. Additional thing that you get with the mooring package is a special Jobe fender. It's very lightweight and it's easily usable all around the boat and easily fixed to the railing. So the helm looks about the same like we have on the 22 Spyder. When you select the Jobe, you're getting a special leather center on the steering wheel and you're getting the neon stitching on the steering wheel. Also the EVA decking is extended for the footrest and you're also having a graphics package on the center console. Another cool feature that's standard on all 22s, so you're having a USB charger that is waterproof. Also what's available on all Axopars and on the Axopar X Jobes is the audio package from Fusion, which gives you the possibility to stream music over your phone. This boat particularly now has the audio upgrade package with 2 additional tweeters on the console, subwoofer, and also an additional amplifier. So you're really having a really sound experience on board. Why we put speakers in here is actually a great addition, because the speaker and the tweeter will reflect sound from the plexi so that this creates like a nice sound ambience while you're driving. So the joystick trim tabs are the same ones you already know from the Axopar 28. Also a great addition on the console is the map pocket that follows standard on all Axopar 22s and Axopar X Jobe models. So on all Axopars and also on the X Jobe, we have a wet storage in the front, but still remind you if there's water in the bilge, you might get wet on the bottom of this one. So this is how a standard boat will look if you don't take any toilet option to it. The door is always held with 2 gas struts, so that the gas struts will not pull anything out of line. A great additional dry storage on the 22. This boat also has 8 deck lights as an option for a cool feeling and ambiance. Access to the fuel compartment is right under the driver's seat. Here you have the cutoff valves, you have the fuel filler, the fuel gauge. Unconventionally to an Axopar, the fuel filler cap is now on port side. Also what we did together with Jobe was to come up with a hammock for the foredeck. So why did we do a hammock? It utilizes the full length of the forward deck. Also, it doesn't take up any space once you fold it and store it. Standard with all Axopar X Jobe boats comes a Jobe Experience package. And with that Jobe Experience package, you're receiving one of the 2021 model year Yara stand-up paddle boards, complete with air pump, paddle, and its own backpack storage pouch. Also, moving forward, we already were discussing the hammock that is standard with the boat, and also a cool new feature that is specially manufactured for the Axopar X Jobe is the peak towable. And while you are not using this peak towable, you can easily store it underneath the hammock in the forward deck area of the boat. Also, we will strap it down so that even if the kids want, they could actually keep staying on the towable while you're out driving the boat. Additionally, also you will get 2 life vests. So one small to medium, one large to XL size. Also, we will be handing out a gift card for all Axopar X Jobe buyers so that they have the freedom of choice to visit Jobe's web shop and have a good look at what further products they would want to have in order to enhance their day out at sea. There is also an exploration package available. It's an added package where you can have water skis, a wakeboard with bindings, the pull ropes, and a manta ray carpet, which is like a floatable mattress on the water. So now we moved over to Suomenlinna, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The boats we're showing here today are different boats than we showed in the train factory. So you will see a lot of new features and new functionalities on these, but we're still going to give you some insight today regarding driving an Axopar 22, how it handles, and also go into a bit more details regarding the different options we're having on board on these boats we have in the water. So, one of the cool boats we didn't show you in the train factory is the white Axopar X Jobe. And that's the standard X Jobe Revolve you're getting. What I like about the white boat is it's really striking, and the neon graphics and all the coloring really strikes out on the boat against the white. And you will see that when we get on board the boat and how the EVA is standing up against the white colors. So here you have it. The Axopar X Revolve all in white. Actually, one thing which is funny to notice is that even in freezing conditions, the EVA decking we have on board is working pretty well, providing a good grip under your feet, even if you have a bit of ice on top. So, what differentiated the white from the turquoise boat we had at the train factory is, again, as a repeat, the turquoise gel coat color. This is with the standard Axopar 22 gel coat. So with the X Jobe, you're getting the full graphics detailing following the whole hull sides of the boat, and you're getting the 3D lettering with the neon green Axopar style letters. Additionally, when we go on board, you will also see a much more detailed touches of the Axopar X Jobe graphics. One clear definitive thing you will notice is how we hid the grab rails on the boat. They are not visible from the outside, but they are providing good grip and good safety wherever you walk around the boat. So wherever I walk, I always have my hand on the grab rail. So one thing you can also have as an additional option is a bow pulpit bar. So also one thing that is quite unique for a 22-footer, and especially if you compare this boat to any ribs out there, is the massive space you have inside of the deck. And my personal favorite is the multi-storage option, because this now gives me the full freedom to move about 360 on the boat wherever I want to go without any obstructions. So you can sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the boat is registered for 7 people maximum, but there is a lot of space on board the boat. So you can freely choose wherever you want to spend your day out on the water, and the boat will never feel cramped. Also, another cool feature on all the Axopar 22s and the X Jobes is the step we added on both sides of the boat. So if you have a high dock you need to get onto, it's very easy just to step, and get on. So what we also have standard on all the 22s and the X Jobes are rope holders in the front and in the back. So when you have ropes, instead of just throwing them down, you can have them supported. When you take the front cushion options, you're getting a seat back cushion and you're getting the seating cushion. This you can easily remove by just unhooking the front, throw it away for storage. This seat itself has actually a harbor cover underneath, which you just pull out and get on top. Or if you so want, you can also remove the whole seat. So we took special care with the Axopar 22 to make the best ergonomics behind the helm. And one of these key things is the driving position. We have 3 on the boat. 1, fully upright standing position, so you're able to flex your legs if the weather gets bad out there. 2nd, you can lean back on the flip-up bolster, and you will have a relaxed, semi-seated position where you're well protected behind the windscreen. And then for the longer journeys, of course, seated down position. So driving the 22 Spyder, you have a great protection from the wind. And what we did on all the boats is that you have the windscreen fully adjustable to any height you want. So just select the height you want according to your own height or your driving preference. So with the windscreen fully tilted up, I still have great visibility just above the windscreen, but the windscreen size and the angle gives even added wind protection for me driving standing. Another feature we incorporated on the 22 is also the wind deflectors. So these are not only aesthetics, these have an actual function. And these deflect the wind so that I don't get a draft on my feet as much as without them. So we also position the kill switch strategically close to the driver's leg. So driving the boat with the kill switch, more or less you just snap on and you're ready to go. So this boat is now also equipped with the Mercury upgrade package, which has the theft deterrent system. So removing the key only allows the boat to be driven like 6 knot speed, nothing more. Also, one thing with the upgrade package is that you're getting the Mercury active trim. The active trim adjusts the engine trim automatically. I just set the profile I want to have. Automation takes care of the rest. So also you're getting with the upgrade package the Mercury Vessel View Mobile. Really cool product which interconnects your phone to the engine at hand. But first of all, the number one is that I can track where I've been, how many times I've been driving the boat, how much fuel I've used, everything, servicing, all the information I need. Great kit. So walking over to the other boat. So this is the first prototype installation of the Bimini top, but it gives a great protection all around the boat and it's easily stored down in a folded position. This now is not having the harbor cover on it, so this is more or less how it looks when it's rolled up, but it will have a nice harbor cover once it's finished. There are securing pins. Take the top bar and bring the roof with me. In the front. Both sides. Now I can sit here fully protected from the sun. Okay, Helsinki -2, but you can still imagine how this feels on a warm sunny day somewhere in the Balearics, I don't know, Mallorca. Okay, so now we're out with the Axopar X Jobe. We have 200 horsepower on this baby. One of my favorite boats. Really responsive, really fast. Everything there is to be about a water sports boat. This boat is the first Axopar with a semi-enclosed transom. There are some reasons for it. One, that all the social areas are so far back on the boat. We wanted to enclose it so that you can stay with your feet dry in any type of conditions and you will feel safe. Another thing I'm going to show you right now is also that when you reverse the boat, and even at higher speeds, you will never have water coming in anywhere through the gunnels or anywhere from the aft. So you can really utilize this boat for, let's say, fishing, scuba diving, anything, because the transom is always dry. One great feature of the boats, of all Axopars actually, is how they track at slow speed going forward. So again, keeping a steady pace of, I don't know, 3 knots at a harbor speed, the boat tracks true. So where you have your heading, that's exactly where the boat is going. And this, especially for a beginner, is critical and I would say extremely helpful, because the boat never is doing anything surprising. So I can leave the boat, I set the track, and the boat will keep its track going there. So there is no need to steer. If you have a gust of wind, anything, the boat always wants still to keep its pace and its direction. Why it's doing this is because we made the hull, instead of the typical boat, we made the bow very straight. And this actually elongates the hull. And it makes the boat then track with the bow way better. So now you've seen, we've just driven, I don't know, 200 meters off dock. And we're always keeping true to the track where I left the steering wheel. Okay, so also one thing that is special with the 22 is that we wanted to clear up the helm area and make everything on one level, because it's so critical on a small boat. When you need to move in and out from the steering position, you can easily do that wherever you are going to go on the boat. Again, small feature that has a lot of impact in how you feel boating and how you feel berthing this boat. But let's not keep you in any tension any longer. Let's go out and see how the boat really performs out at sea. So one thing I also want you to notice is the angle of the bow. We're now doing 6 knots, and when I'm going to speed up, you never lose visibility of the bow or where you're going. And this is again a critical feature that we want to have on all Axopars. This is because of the stepped hull, this is because of the low center of gravity and the good center of mass. But just look now when I'm speeding up, that I always have a good view over the horizon, and even if I do it slow, I pull us up gradually because we have some waves out. We never lose sight of the horizon. Also, one thing really interesting, the boat still keeps true and tracking straight even if we're doing only 10 knots. So I'm not touching the steering wheel. The boat itself again wants to keep its heading. Pushing up a bit more speed and more, and now we're already on planing speed. So we're doing 15 knots at the moment. I still haven't touched the steering wheel, and the boat just tracks where I left the steering wheel. You can actually see it on the GPS itself. So let's speed up a bit more. Again, same thing. So a very undramatic, very relaxing sensation getting the boat up to speed. And also the same, if you accidentally pull it into neutral or you need to do it, the boat will also stop in the same fashion. Let's do some turns. Because we made the hull ultra wide at the transom, means that this boat doesn't want to lean over that much. So once I've set the steering wheel to a position I want the boat to turn, the boat just keeps going and going. There is no input needed from me. You just look at the circle it's also drawing on the navigator. So we're drawing perfect circles, and there is no deviation, there is no drift. The boat takes care of you. You don't need to take care of the boat. let's put up some more speed and still keep doing the same thing. It doesn't change the situation whatsoever. And again, the boat doesn't require any steering input from the driver. So for me, I just more or less control my speed and my heading, and the boat just goes through, even this choppy sideways. Again, a very important feature in a safe boat. Once I turn the boat straight, again, straight, and it just goes. No input from me whatsoever. You should always, of course, have your hand on the steering wheel and your hand on the throttle. This is only for demonstration purposes. I just want to show you how this boat handles and how easy it is to drive. So let's pick up a bit of speed. I think we're having something like half-meter waves at the moment, so just fun enough to be skipping a bit. Okay, so we stop down, and I'm going to reverse against some sea again, just to demonstrate the closed transom we have on the Axopar 22. So, very safe, undramatic, and very stable. So, which we demonstrated in the harbor, it continues exactly the same way out at sea. So again, if we pull it in neutral and we just leave the boat to rest, you will still see that the boat is not rocking too much. It's like a gentle lean, where many competitors are heavily rolling because A, they have a higher center of gravity, B, they don't have as wide a hull as the 22 has, and C, they have more weight. And with the more weight, you have more momentum that keeps moving the boat side to side. So this to us is critical, because you will be staying with this boat at anchor in different areas all around the world. So you need to feel comfortable while you're staying on board on the boat for a whole day, out on the water, swimming, snorkeling, scuba diving, water skiing, whatever you do. We wanted to create the most stable platform there is out of 22-foot boats out on the market. So let's go driving in some following sea and see how the boat handles. So I'm doing 25 knots right now. The wind is hitting me somewhere around here. And now, if I just lean back into the semi-seated position, I'm fully protected by the wind. So there is no wind. I only feel a slight movement of wind on the top of my head, nothing else. And if I want to drive standing up, just unscrew this, pull the windshield up, and again, I'm good to go. So let's pick up the speed. Let's see what this baby can do. As I said, I love the 200 horsepower because it's so powerful. 40 knots or above 40 knots for a 22-footer is really good speed. Slowing down to 33 knots right now. We have side winds, and again I just wanted to demonstrate how the boat handles and goes on its own. So I'm actually not doing any driver's input at the moment. Where I directed it, that's where it's gonna go. The wind or the waves are not affecting the position or the heading of the boat. So heading back again, because we have the stepped hulls, the hull always wants to keep a neutral balance, and it wants to balance itself. I've never used the trim tabs, and I've never trimmed the engines either. So even doing 42, 43 knots out at the open sea, great fun, exhilarating and relaxing at the same time. Helsinki, December, I think it's -3. So yeah, a bit nippy, but this is the boating we do. This is what creates the company. This is what makes the products. These conditions, these sceneries, the people we're working with in the company, we love doing exactly just this. So regarding the fuel consumption, we're doing 6 knots and 1.1 liters per nautical mile. And we're gonna speed this up so that you get an idea of the speed range and the fuel consumption range we're doing with the 200 horsepower. So let's say a speed like 13 knots, which on many competitive boats is a really bad speed. But for the Axopar hull, 13 is actually quite good speed. So as I said, any speed from 10 to 30, you're getting almost identical liters per nautical mile fuel consumption. This boat now has an inertia eco propeller. Driving slow speeds, we're getting extra good liter per nautical mile consumption. So we speed it up to 20 knots. Let's wait until we get, and we'll get back at still 0.9 liters per nautical mile, around, or 1.0. Let's go up to 26, 27. And let's see the same results again. 1 liter per nautical mile, and we're doing 26 knots. We can even go faster, let's say 32. And again, the liters per nautical mile is going to get around 0.9. So we're riding 2-person light load, but real good fuel economy. You need to understand now it's cold and the weather is cold. So that means that we're getting a bit better performance that you would get driving this boat in warm conditions with warm water. So that's one thing to take in consideration. Let's head back and let's look how it again feels at full speed. So I'm also going to demonstrate a crash stop. So we're doing 40 knots and I'm going to pull the throttle into full neutral now. And what the boat is doing, it's really doing nothing. If you have a look behind how the wake is coming, there is no wake. Even if you would have a crash stop situation where you need to kill all the power, the boat will keep its track and it will just slow down and calm down easily into 0. Again, another great safety feature we've built into the hull and into the hydrodynamics of all our Axopar boats. No matter if it's a 22, 28 or a 37 or any of our future boats. These are key security features we will never take out of a boat for the cost of something else, higher speed, more performance, whatever. So we want to provide you one of the class best products there is. We don't try to even achieve to become the best fishing boat, the best sport boat, the best performance boat, but we try to be equally best in all of these categories. And doing all of these categories good makes up a perfect boat. So the boat needs to be something a beginner can handle with ease and feel safe behind the steering wheel. It still needs to have the fun and excitement you have as an experienced boater. And the boat still needs to be able to show you performance and behavior you expect from a boat that is as mature and developed in terms of seaworthiness and handling like on an Axopar.